Hello, everyone. Welcome back to RYGR Sports. My name is Logan,
My name is Yash.
and in today's episode, we're going to be going over all the moves that have happened so far during this NBA offseason. We've had a couple of pretty crazy moves happen over the last few weeks, and me and Yash are going to talk about them and let you guys know how we think this is going to impact the league and basically recapping everything that has gone on. So I'll start with the biggest news that we've received in the last few weeks, and that's going to be Jaylen Brown being traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, two first round picks, and a second round pick. Um, you know, I heard there was Jaylen Brown trade talks a few weeks ago. I didn't take them too seriously because he's the type of player that you don't really trade. He kind of comes off as a franchise guy, and especially after bringing home a title and winning Finals MVP for them a few years ago, I definitely did not think he'd be on the move to Philadelphia. However, I guess the Celtics wanted to trade him, and they got Paul George, who used to be a great player, not anymore. He's getting old. I believe he's probably maybe 35, 36, something like that. So, um, you know, I, when you look at a value perspective, I'm not really too sure what the Celtics were doing here. As soon as I saw the trade drop, I looked at what they got for him, and I knew they got robbed immediately. I mean, two first round picks, okay. You get a second round pick. I mean, we're talking about Mikal Bridges, a guy that was traded for five first round picks, and he's not nearly half the player Jaylen Brown is. So, I'm not really too sure why the Celtics made this kind of trade. It's kind of a little puzzling to me. But now we know that Philadelphia is going for a run this year, and now that they're in LeBron James talks, if they can land him, they're definitely the team to beat in the East for sure. Uh, but my immediate reaction to this trade was just I was very confused because the Celtics have something good going over there, and you missed Jason Tatum for the entire season last year, basically the entire season. Um, and now you trade Jaylen Brown, and I'm not really too sure where this team is going. Um, Obviously they saw something in this trade, or else they wouldn't have done it. So, yeah, not really too sure what the Celtics are doing here. But great move by the Sixers to go out and get a guy who's gonna probably be their number 1A option. I mean, I think him and Maxey are probably 1A, 1B. I don't think one of these guys is gonna lead the team. I think both of these two players are outstanding, and even if you get a healthy Joel Embiid back as well, that's another monster you have in there. So it's going to be a platoon of all stars here for Philadelphia. But I do like this trade for them. They are now really solid all around, so I do like that trade for them.
Yeah, so I know you're bringing up. Yeah, you weren't sure exactly why the Celtics really did this. I feel like they were more or less forced to do this because, over the past year or so, there's been a lot of rumors, and with Jaylen Brown eventually being traded, and obviously that ended up happening as we know. But I feel like what even in the locker room, there was like an idea that he wasn't going to be in Boston the next season, and just the way he was kind of being treated by the organization. I feel like eventually there's kind of like a point of no return. And I think the Celtics were kind of at that point. If they were kind of able to keep it quiet, and I think they could have definitely gotten a better deal for Jaylen Brown. But a really similar situation to this is Dalton Connect on the Lakers because if you remember, he was traded for Mark Williams, I believe, on the Hornets, or he,
I
he was
think so,
traded
yeah.
initially, and then the trade got canceled, and Dalton Connect was back in LA. So now as a player, you're like, okay, this organization doesn't want me, but I'm still here. So I feel like this Jaylen Brown situation was basically the same, except the only difference is Jaylen Brown's like a superstar player, and he's gonna have a lot more say in an organization, and a lot more. He's gonna command a lot more attention. So I think this is a great, really good trade for the 76ers. Their championship run solely bases on how Joel Embiid is able to kind of take care of himself because that's the one thing that's really cost the Sixers. They have Tyrese Maxey. Now they have Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, possibly LeBron James. This would definitely be the team to beat. If Joel Embiid can stay healthy, we already know what he can do. He's won an MVP. He's a great player. We saw him in the Olympics a few years ago. Put up a monster performance in against Serbia in the semifinal, where he scored seven straight big points to put the USA back into the game. So if I'm a Sixers fan, I'm super happy with this trade. If I'm a Celtics fan, I'd be a little bit worried because Jason Tatum is obviously a superstar player. He's a great player, but you don't really have anybody really alongside him. Paul George is just old, and if I'm being completely honest, I've never thought Paul George was really that good, especially in big moments. We already know his playoff performances in the bubble. A lot of people call him Pandemic P. Um, but yeah. So moving on from Jalen Brown, I have the next trade I wanted to talk about, is LaMelo Ball. Now that is one I did not see happening. I mean, it's honestly a crazy trade. I don't really know what the Hornets are doing. They made the playoffs, and then they basically traded their whole team away. This I think is definitely a trade that caught me off guard the most. Um, but the Hornets are definitely cooked this season. Like they have no chance. I don't know why they're going into a full rebuild. And the Wolves definitely won this trade. It's going to be amazing to see Anthony Edwards alongside of LaMelo Ball now. I'd like to hear what you thought about it, Logan, because that was definitely the craziest trade I've seen so far.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because the Timberwolves or the Hornets got way more for LaMelo Ball than the Celtics did for Jalen Brown, which is very puzzling.
Crazy.
Um, when you look at this trade, they got Naz Reid, who's one of the best, players off the bench in the entire NBA, who has a Sixth Man of the Year award. They got three first round picks, three second round picks, and Josh Green, who's a young guard. So, the Hornets actually got a pretty good haul for LaMelo Ball. And LaMelo Ball is a kind of a street hooper. He's not like LaMelo Ball is probably not going to lead a team to an NBA Finals. You kind of like LaMelo Ball for his highlight reel and all of his flashy plays and everything. He's not the type of player that's. I don't think he gets a ring in his career. But he's very talented. He's one of the best. He's one of the best point guards in the NBA. He's extremely talented, great shooter, and he's still young. So I definitely like this trade for the Timberwolves. So you pair him with Anthony Edwards down there in Minnesota, and they've got something going there as well. From Charlotte's side of this trade, I mean, obviously you have two young star players, Con Campbell, Brandon Miller, both extremely talented, both going to get better as the years go on. And I think Charlotte kind of just wants to build around those two guys. Um, but still, especially considering what Charlotte did last year, kind of surprising everyone and having a pretty good season. I'm not really too sure why they would break this trio up. But I'm not the GM. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. I think Charlotte probably gets worse a little bit. The Timberwolves are kind of going to be in this, like, they're going to, what you're going to get out of them? You're going to get 50 to 55 wins from them. And probably a playoff series win. Maybe you get two playoff series wins. But it definitely makes the Timberwolves better. And we'll see how Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball kind of gel together this year. It should be pretty fun to watch for sure. Definitely, I'm going to be tuning into some Timberwolves games this year. But moving on to a couple other signings that happened. Austin Reaves got $185 million from the Lakers. You talk about a guy that has gotten consistently better year after year. He's coming off of a career year. I know he got hurt during the season a little bit, but you can't deny this kid is really talented. I mean, he came off a year averaging 24 points per game, which is a really good number. So, I definitely do think that this money is earned. And now knowing that LeBron James will not be returning to the Lakers, it definitely opens up Reeves more as the second option on this team behind Luka Doncic, which is nice to see. I think that's a really good 1-2 guard punch. And, considering they also signed Walker Kessler to a huge contract with the Jazz, it was a sign and trade deal. He's now going to be playing center for the Lakers, and he is also very talented as well. Kid out of Auburn, I believe he graduated in 22 or 23. Um, really good shot blocker. He can shoot the three ball. He's a really talented player. I don't know if he's $130 million talented, but the Lakers kind of lacked a five throughout the year, so he's definitely someone that he can stay healthy is going to give them some good minutes at the center spot, which is desperately needed from them. A couple other ones that I'll just rattle off here. Ayo Dosunmu got 112 million from the Timberwolves after his playoff run there. The Rockets gave Tari Eason $81.5 million. Good shooter, good defender. You're always going to have a spot in the NBA if you can do those two things. Mitchell Robinson got signed by the Celtics for $47 million. He is a elite, one of the best shot blockers in the NBA, but that's all he can do. Um, and a couple of small ones here. Sexton's a Laker. Uh, Colin Gillespie got 48 mil from the Suns. NBA money is crazy nowadays. You see like a mid player get like 50 mil. It's like ridiculous. Like 10 years ago, they would have gotten signed for probably 20 instead of 50. So, a couple of these deals are pretty crazy,
I
but
think
I'll
I think
pass
at
it
a
back to you.
I'm
Sure.
sorry. I think at a certain point we're gonna see like a superstar player reach like $1 billion contract, and I feel like this is gonna happen within the next 10 years of like some
I
like
don't
think
know
about
about
it.
a billion, but I mean,
Definitely
maybe a
somebody's
couple of
definitely gonna hit
decades
100
from now.
million a year. I feel like within the next 10 years somebody's gonna get 100 mil with it like a year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the money just keeps
Because
going
we
up,
already have
especially
people
in the
reaching
NBA.
65 to 70, so 100 million is really not that crazy. Well, to us regular people, it's definitely a
Yeah.
lot of money, but moving on, I think one of the trades that you didn't talk about or signings was Rui Hachimura going to the Clippers. I believe it was 2 years, 28 million or 24 million, something like that. I'm really surprised the Lakers didn't re-sign him because aside from LeBron James, he was definitely your best player in the playoffs. Rui Hachimura is probably one of the biggest playoff risers I've ever seen in my life, and this might sound crazy, but just like three back-to-back-to-back years of him just making over half of his threes when he takes in the playoffs, played really good defense. I mean, his mid-range was cold. I mean, especially against the Rockets, I watched this dude just absolutely cook with his mid-range shots. But I don't really care since I'm not really a Lakers fan. I already have my bags packed and ready to go. So wherever LeBron goes, we go. So uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
speaking of the Rockets, Marcus Smart is now a Houston Rocket, 2 years, $13 million. That is a elite defensive
really
point
good
guard. He's
sign.
not going to start, but he's probably going to come off the bench for us and maybe play 20 minutes a game, and give us some good defense. Because I believe Fred VanVleet's coming back from his torn ACL or Achilles or whatever it was. He's going to start at point guard for us. But I definitely like Marcus Smart. He's definitely one of those players that just gives you energy off the bench.
He's a really
Um,
good pressure player as well. Really
yeah,
good
so
pressure player.
Houston definitely would love a guy like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think one trade that we're missing here is Ja Morant, traded to the Trailblazers.
Oh, I
Which
completely forgot about. I forget Jaws in the league.
yeah, yeah, that one came out of nowhere for me. I
Yeah.
definitely didn't think he was gonna get moved. But Portland, they're actually going for something this year. But the only problem with them now is they have three guards. I mean, they have Drew Holiday, John Morant, and Damian Lillard, all three true point guards. So someone's gonna have to get traded, or someone's gonna have to come off the bench because they can't run all three of those players in the starting lineup. And all three players are capable of starting in the NBA. So I think one of those three guards probably gets moved before the season starts. If I had to guess, I think they probably move on from Drew Holiday. Um, considering Dame is loved in Portland, and they
You
just
can't move
got
Dame.
him.
You
So
literally can't move Dame. He's like
yeah, so
untouchable.
I think Drew Holiday would probably be on the move, or maybe he would come off the bench. I'm not too sure. Um, but John Morant's an interesting player because when he's on the court, he's very exciting to watch. He's very talented, but he's got some off the court issues and some health injury issues, and he's not the type of player that like what you're gonna get from him. He's definitely a question mark in some areas. But if he can stay healthy, man, I think Portland's got a pretty good roster this year. They definitely have some real young talent here. Obviously, Denny Advia is rising star in the NBA. Drew Holiday super solid, and they've got a lot of pretty nice young players on this team too. Scoot Henderson had a nice playoff, so I think their stock definitely improves. But yeah, John Morant is definitely going to be fun to watch in Portland.
Yeah, for the
Um,
4 games that we're gonna get before he
yeah,
gets
we'll
hurt or
see
like
how much he
suspended.
actually plays. But yeah, I mean, if there's any other moves that you want to recap here, I think we went over the big ones.
Yeah, just waiting for
Just a
Goat
couple
James.
of yeah, I mean, once the LeBron James news drops, that's gonna completely, you know, crash the internet. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, when I take a look at most of these deals, it's like 2 or 3 years for less than 20 mil. Just some role players that are just getting moved around the league. I mean, I see some of these deals and it's like Dean Wade getting 40 million. Like, I mean, I get it. He's a good 3-point shooter, but that's all he really can do. That is just a ridiculous contract. Um, But yeah, that's gonna do it for me regarding the NBA offseason so far. There's a couple of guys that still need to sign. James Harden, Jalen Duren, obviously LeBron James. There's a couple of big names that still have yet not yet decided on a team. I know Draymond Green declined his option, but all signs point towards the Warriors re-signing him for less so they can make a run at LeBron James. So, um, yeah, I'm sure we're going to be hearing some news regarding these players in a few days, maybe a few weeks. But yeah, if there's nothing else you want to cover, Yash, that's going to do it for this video.
Yep, I'm pretty much done. So
All right,
we do
guys.
have a
Well,
soccer video coming out as well, which we will be probably releasing in the next 24 to 48 hours of this being recorded. So stay tuned for that. But I think that's pretty much it.
all right, guys. Well, leave a comment down below of where you think LeBron James is going to sign for his final year in the NBA. So until then, guys, we'll see you in our next video. See ya.